Tonight, your alarm is set. The morning matters. You close your eyes. Nothing. Your brain, the most sophisticated survival machine ever built, decides that right now, right at this moment, is the perfect time to replay every awkward conversation you've had in the last decade. It runs emergency simulations of tomorrow's meeting. It rehearses what you'll say if things go wrong. It absolutely refuses to let you rest. And here's the strange part. You've probably blamed yourself for this. You've told yourself to relax. You've stared at the ceiling feeling frustrated, then felt frustrated about feeling frustrated. But what if this isn't a flaw? What if your brain isn't broken? What if it's doing exactly what it was built to do? Your brain before sleep is not just winding down. It is running a system that predates human civilization by hundreds of thousands of years. It is scanning for threats, preparing for high-stakes situations, and deciding whether it is safe to go offline. And right now, it has decided that it is not. Think about what tomorrow actually looks like to your nervous system. There is a presentation, a flight, a date, an exam, a difficult conversation. Your body cannot tell the difference between that calendar event and what your ancestors faced on the savannah. A rival tribe, a predator at the treeline, a hunt that had to succeed, or the family starved. To the ancient architecture of your brain, high stakes is high stakes, and high stakes means do not sleep. Matthew Walker, a neuroscientist at UC Berkeley and author of extensive research on sleep and the human brain, documented what happens in the hours before sleep during periods of anticipatory stress. The amygdala, your brain's threat detection system, becomes hyperactive. It floods the body with low-level cortisol, not enough to keep you alert, just enough to keep you from fully letting go. This is not a modern problem. It is an ancient solution arriving at the wrong address. The system was never designed for a world where the threat is a PowerPoint presentation. It evolved for a world where sleeping through a real emergency could mean death. So it errs on the side of caution, every time, without fail. It would rather give you one bad night than risk letting you sleep through something that costs you everything. And there is a cruelty built into the design. The more you need the sleep, the harder it is to get it. Researchers call this pre-sleep cognitive arousal. Alison Harvey at Oxford University studied insomnia and found that the people most desperate to sleep, the ones with the most important mornings ahead, were the ones whose minds became most active the moment they closed their eyes. The pressure to sleep becomes the reason you cannot. The brain interprets the urgency itself as a threat signal. It reads your anxiety about not sleeping as evidence that something dangerous is happening. And it responds accordingly. Your heart rate stays elevated. Your core temperature resists dropping. REM sleep, the deep, restorative stage where your brain consolidates memories and repairs itself, gets pushed further and further back into the night. You drift in and out of light sleep. You check the clock. The clock confirms your fear. The fear confirms the clock. It is a feedback loop with no natural exit. But here is where the story gets stranger. Here is where it stops being just a sleep problem and starts being a window into how human consciousness actually works. In 2011, a team led by Eti Ben-Simon at Tel Aviv University ran a study that found something that should bother you. Sleep deprivation does not just make you tired. It makes you socially toxic. People who had not slept properly were rated by observers as less trustworthy, less appealing, and more threatening to be around. Their faces had shifted. Micro-expressions of stress leaked through, even when they were trying to appear calm. Their brains were emitting threat signals to everyone around them. Think about that. You stayed awake all night, worrying about how you would perform tomorrow, and the sleeplessness itself has now impaired the exact thing you were trying to protect. Your brain kept you awake to help you survive the high-stakes moment, and in doing so, it sabotaged your performance in that very moment. This is evolution, working exactly as designed. In a world that no longer exists, your ancestors did not have quarterly reviews. They did not have job interviews or first dates or flights that left at 6 in the morning. When they were awake and vigilant the night before a big hunt, that vigilance was useful. Their nervous systems were primed. Their senses were sharp. The adrenaline in their blood was appropriate to the context. They were about to face something that could kill them. You are about to face something that will not, but your brain has not been updated. It is running ancient firmware on modern hardware, and the ancient firmware does not have a category called stressful, but ultimately survivable. It has two categories, safe and unsafe. Tomorrow feels unsafe, so the system stays on. There is one more layer to this that almost no one talks about. The night before a big day, the content of what your brain rehearses is not random. It does not replay your victories. It does not walk you through the most likely outcome, which is probably fine. It specifically, deliberately, surgically focuses on the worst-case scenario. It stress tests failure. It maps out every way tomorrow could go wrong. This is called defensive pessimism, and it is baked into the threat anticipation circuit. The brain understands at some level that preparing for failure is more valuable than rehearsing success. If you mentally prepare for the best case, and the best case happens, nothing was gained. But if you mentally prepare for the worst case, and the worst case happens, you survive it. The asymmetry of outcomes means your brain will always bet on the nightmare. So at 2 in the morning, you are not catastrophizing irrationally. You are running a subroutine that kept your ancestors alive through genuine catastrophe. You are just running it in a body, lying in a dark room surrounded by absolute safety, pointing it at a situation that will almost certainly be fine. Your brain doesn't know that. It cannot know that. It is making the same bet it has always made. And the bet is, you matter too much to let sleep. There is something almost worth noticing in that, even if the timing is inconvenient. The sleeplessness is not punishment. It is not failure. It is your nervous system treating tomorrow like it matters. Because for a very long time, the things that felt like tomorrow mattered. Genuinely, existentially mattered. Every high-stakes morning in your ancestral line was survived. Every one of them. The worried brain passed itself down through every generation until it reached you, lying awake right now, staring at the ceiling. You inherited this from people who made it through. Matthew Walker's research shows that one bad night before a high-performance event rarely affects performance as dramatically as people fear. The brain compensates. Adrenaline masks fatigue. Anticipation sharpens focus in short bursts. The catastrophic failure you rehearsed at 2 in the morning almost never arrives at 8. The night always ends. The alarm always goes off. And you walk through the door anyway, running ancient software in a modern world, doing the thing your brain spent all night convinced you couldn't do. Tonight, when your alarm is set and the morning matters, and you close your eyes and your brain refuses, you'll know what's actually happening. It isn't broken. It's just keeping watch.